Lucifer, Jesus, and the Morning Star, Part 2. Lucifer, son of the morning, in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. Jesus, the bright morning star, in Revelation chapter 22, verse 16. It would appear from these two verses that Lucifer and Jesus are the same person. Unfortunately for those believing that both being the same person because of that morning star in both verses, things are not what they appear. The solution to this mystery is the following. Lucifer, son of the morning, is today's world, yesterday's world, this generation's world. All previous generations to our world, previous even to Jesus' generation, all the way back to the birth of civilization, and before that, of Noah's world. That world before the great flood, and all generations of that world that was destroyed by the great flood, all the way back to Adam's fall into sin. Though both verses have that morning star in common, and both Lucifer and Jesus being the morning star, Lucifer and Jesus are two completely different persons with nothing in agreement with each other. John chapter 14, verse 30, KJV. Hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me. But why then that morning star in both persons? Lucifer, son of the morning, in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. Jesus, the bright morning star, in Revelation chapter 22, verse 16. The morning star and son of the morning is the planet Venus. Before the sun rises, that begins our day, another star rises before or with the rising sun. In ancient times it was confused for a star, but instead it is the planet Venus that shines as a star. That Lucifer, son of the morning, in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12, or Lucifer, referred to as son of the morning, is the world all around us, the world of man, having begun when Adam sinned and he and Eve were exiled from the Garden of Eden, beginning the world of man, beginning civilization and history through man's working, from the first seed planted in the ground to modern agricultural machinery, from the spear to hunt animals to the rifle, from the first hut as a dwelling place to modern urban cities, from the horse for travel to modern public and private transportation, from the first agricultural communities of the Neolithic to modern present-day cities, the ancient world, and our modern world, with all its man-made powers and glories. But also all its troubles, from wars, pollution, deforestation, natural disasters, famines, plagues, earthquakes. Lucifer, son of the morning, is the world that man wakes up into every morning to begin its day, all through written history, and even before written history, beginning from when Adam brought sin into the world. When we wake up in the morning, we wake up in a world where sin is present, a world that began in sin and because of sin, and we ourselves, because being sin-natured, we begin to sin even before our morning begins. The moment we wake up, and in just about every action and thought, and all through our day, and sometimes we are not even aware that we sin, both in thought and action, because sin is so present in us all. We sin all day long, until we go to bed, to sleep, with sleep the only time in that 24-hour day that we do not sin because we are asleep. Lucifer, son of the morning, meaning ours, and each and every one of us that begin our morning in sin, and sin is our world, the world of the fallen Adam, he as we, beginning our morning, bringing sin into the world, and because of sin, we are all under Satan's bondage, because sin has Satan as its origin. All having begun because of Adam, the first to have brought sin into the world, and by bringing sin into the world, brought Satan into the world. That Lucifer, son of the morning, in Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12, is a future where Satan has become so powerful over the nations that his spirit has incarnated in a man. A future where the church, the only power on earth through Christ that could restrain that evil from becoming a man, that church has fallen away in its preachings and in its numbers, weakened by an evil that is absorbing it along with the nations, weakening nations and every earthly power, so to have it all surrender to one man, Satan incarnate in the son of perdition. We wake up into a world that was not supposed to be, but that came into existence because of one man. A world where man would have to work his life away, whether it be for a job that puts food on the table and pays every expenses, to that of a life of responsibilities towards himself, family, and friends. The life where man has to procure all his needs, from clothing, food, and a roof over its head. The life of physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual stress and pressures. The life where man is exposed to troubles, sorrow, pain, sickness, disease, and death. A broken world of broken lives, all brought upon all mankind because of one man and his companion Eve. Genesis chapter 3 KJV, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Verse 18. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth, to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. Verse 19, in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Because Adam and Eve, the first to sin against God, instead of bringing into the world the God that would have personally cared for all mankind's needs, so that man would have never worked, never to know sickness and death, Adam, because of having sinned, caused separation between him and God, and between God and mankind. A separation that would have man to care for itself in troubles and sorrows, the life that God had not intended for man. Sin strengthens Satan, and the more sinful a generation, more and more strength is delivered by man and generation unto Satan, and stronger is that bound that Satan has over that person, peoples, nation, generation, and world. The more sinful and unrepentant is a nation and generation, the further that generation and nation distances itself from God. Distancing itself from God, the more that nation and generation is exposed to troubles, wars, natural disasters, famines, pestilences, and even earthquakes. Adam, by having brought sin into the world, brought Satan into the world, because sin is of Satan, and sin, if unrepentant, separates from God. That separation delivers to Satan authority over man. Greater the sin and the unrepentance from that sin or sins, greater is the authority of Satan over man, strengthening his hold over man, peoples, nations, generation, and world. The further a church falls away from Jesus Christ and God, the lesser restraint it has over Satan and over any individual, nation, and generation in Satan's bondage. Luke chapter 4 KJV, verse 5. And the devil, taking him up into an high mountain, shewed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. Verse 6. And the devil said unto him, All this power will I give thee, and the glory of thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whosoever I will give it. For that is delivered unto me. What is delivered unto Satan is sin, unrepented sin, corrupted minds, bodies, and souls, who that distance themselves from God because of the pleasures of their depravity and of their lack of faith and repentance. But what is that? Jesus, the bright and morning star, in Revelation chapter 22, verse 16. What that is a future beyond imagination. This is end of part 2.